Hey guys, how's it going? On today's video, we're gonna go ahead and unbox and install classic Euro parts, new Euro bumpers for my E30. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a blanket, put on the floor, and we'll go ahead and get these unboxed. So I got everything unboxed, nicely laid out. Let's go over everything real quick. So for everything for the front bumper, we have license plate tray, turn signals, the side pieces, other side pieces in chrome, and then we have the front bumper right there. And then there's a few other, those are the front bumper brackets right there, hardware in the bag. And then for the rear, we have the long pieces right here. That's the rear bumper. We have the complete rear bumper trim, and we have the two side pieces on each side. So now that everything's unboxed, let's go ahead and get it installed on the car. I got everything laid out for the front. That is all the hardware you will need. I'm pretty sure after looking at the diagram, which I'll put on the screen right now, the real OEM diagram for everything. So that's all the hardware. That's all the hardware for the rear. So let's go ahead and get this all put together. It should be pretty simple. All right, so you do want to leave everything a little loose so that there is some room for adjustment when you put it on. We'll start with the end pieces here. So go ahead and slide it on just like that. And you go ahead and put your capture bolt through on the top here. And you'll do the one on the bottom as well down here. Go ahead and take your hardware and put it through on the back. Then go ahead and grab a 13 and get them nice and tight. And then we can go ahead and put the chrome cover over it. So you'll cap it like that and just slide it over. So I do want these perfect. So I did do a little bit of trimming. I just took a carbide bit on a Dremel and opened up the holes just a little bit. The one-sided bolts only go far enough for the bracket to fit. So I just opened them just slightly, so that when they sit, they are perfectly flush with each other. So now I'll go ahead and put the bolt through. Go ahead and grab your cover. Now, perfect fit. Got it all attached. Everything is nice and flush like it should be. I'm gonna go ahead and get the mounts, which are these, and we'll go ahead and install it with these 13 hardware, and we'll go ahead and get it mounted onto the car before we put the trim on. Got the front bumper all mounted. You wanna make sure that the brackets are facing up. See if you could see in there. It's more towards the up side so that you have a nice gap all the way around. I do have a gap on both sides for the end pieces, but I'll go ahead and deal with that later, more on final fitment after I paint the car. I went ahead and got a front valance, just cut the bottom off so you guys can see the fitment. It's right where it needs to be. That looks good for right now. Let's go ahead and finish installing the rest of the trim that we have on the floor here. I just want to apologize. I don't know what's my filming and doing stuff in this video has not been the greatest, but let's start fresh. Bumper is back off the car. I swapped the turn signals so that they are correct. You want to make sure that the pigtails are pointing out towards the outside of it. There you can see the bracket. Make sure it's loose when you're going to install it. And for the side of here, go ahead. This foam side is going to be towards the bumper. So all you're going to do is slide it into place. You might have to take a screwdriver and just open it up just slightly, just because they are super tight. There we go. Just slide that up and in right there. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And then let's get it back on the car and all bolted together. Now for the side trim, it's super easy. You'll take the clips, slide them in, and all you have to do is press it into place. Well, make sure you use the right clips when you're doing it. You'll use the bigger ones, so that was my mistake. And now it should go right in, no problems. There we go, just like that. Fog lights you do install from the back. You have 1 and 2, and you'll use the black screws that are supplied. Now for the main piece, again, we'll grab 2 of the big wings, slide them in, tuck it behind the fog lights, which I should have put on first. Went ahead and took the bumper off real quick. Go ahead and put the front plate on and then put your turn signals on. Classic Euro Parts also does supply pigtails for it so that you can wire them into your chassis harness. So go ahead, put it back on the car, and should be done with the front. There we go for the front. I actually put the fog lights on backwards, so I have to swap them. But for the fitment, actually it's fine. When the fender's in the correct place, mine's just off because I keep messing with the chassis. So that looks good. Everything fits pretty good. Like I said, same thing with here. This will get a little bit of movement and then it fits just fine. So I didn't push the clips in all the way because in the next video, I am going to install a MTech 1 kit onto the car as well. So stay tuned for that. Now for completing the front here, they do include the covers for the bolts right here. I'm not going to put them on because I'm going to take the bumper off again. Rubber washers for mounting your license plate. And you have these plastic grommets as well, which go right in here for also mounting your license plate. So I'm going to leave those off for now. Just take your time when you install it and you won't have any issues like I ran into, just because I was rushing it a little bit. So now that the front is done, let's go ahead and get the rear all together and on the car. All right, now for the rears, we're gonna have to do a little bit of trimming as well. It seems like this is a perfect fit, but we're gonna have to trim this one just a little bit, and same on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim them a little bit, open them up, and we should be good to go. All right, just like the front, all I had to do is open up the top ones just a little bit. Obviously, make sure that each set might be a little different, so take your time. So all we're gonna do now is put the 3 bolts through again. So grab your 4 and 4. We'll go at the bottom right here because the hole was fine. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now the chrome pieces, there we go. Now the chrome pieces are a little different. They actually go through the center hole. So go ahead and keep this one somewhat loose. We'll just bring it over. Perfect. And go ahead and grab your 13, tighten down the back, and then we'll switch to the other side. Bumper is all together, looking good. So now we'll go ahead and we will put the clips on for the rear right there, and then we'll go ahead and put the trim on, and then we'll go ahead and mount it to the car and then put the trim on. The trim, I recommend putting it in the sun for a little bit and let it heat up and go back to its original shape, because it was obviously it was folded for shipping. So go put it in the sun for a little bit, let it heat up and rest and gain back to its original shape. For the rear brackets, you have to drill a new hole in the chassis. So what you want to do is put them onto the bumper. You want to keep them pretty tight, but still a little bit of movement. And then what you'll do is you want to put a little paint on here. You'll put it into where the US bumper bracket goes, and then where the paint is, you'll drill a little hole, and you should be able to fit it right through. And remember, you want the bracket facing upwards. You don't want it facing down. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw these on real quick, and then we'll go ahead and test fit it. Rear bumper's on. Gap is good. You do want this to be pretty much this line even with that. As you can see, this one is a little over. So they want to be pretty close to each other. So I'm just a little off. You can see the gap there versus the gap on that side, which once everything's loose and we bring this side in, it'll correct itself, which is good. So I'll go ahead and put the hardware in from the inside, right behind the battery box. So it's about right here. Go ahead and get the bolt through. Obviously, this hole is a little low for it, so what I'll most likely do is just drill a little hole a little bit higher. But again, every car is different, so fitment's going to be slightly different everywhere. And then it's pretty simple. You'll go ahead and slide this in, just like that. And as you can see, just barely off. I'm happy with that. So now with the trim, just to adjust the fitment just slightly, what I'll probably end up doing is either, you can see the hole right here, I'll probably just bring it over just a little bit, or even just oval it out so it's got a little bit more room on both of them, just because it just needs that just littlest bit of adjustment. If I make a new hole, I can just weld the other one shut, so it's not a big deal to me. Some people it's a big deal, so obviously take your time. You really do want them pretty much vertical or just slightly cockeyed, because you really want it to sit as high up as possible to fit all the way around. Like I said, that one hole is a little low. That one's perfect, so it's a little weird that the fitment's off. So you can see how it dips down here, whereas this side is flush. It actually goes up a little bit. So it might just be a little bit of adjustment on my part. So let's go ahead and put the trim on. So we're going to use all of the little ones. You're going to go ahead and slide them in here. Oh. Slide them in here like that. And you got to get them all the way around. So every point, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 all the way around to get it clipped in. So go ahead, slide all those in, and we'll attach it. And just remember, make sure that you tighten the bolts. Everything should be tightened first before you put the trim on, because the trim is pretty much like the final piece. So I'm not going to do every single section, because I do need to pull these out for the MTech 1 conversion. So we will just add a few in. Let's see, which way does this go? All right, it's definitely a thicker side on the top. Yeah, you're definitely supposed to put the cap on afterwards. That's okay. As you can see, just clips around, clips. Everything's nice and tight. And then all you do is you keep going around and then put the caps in. I'm gonna leave it off for the next video. That is how you install Euro bumpers. If you want to see that final assembly where I finish pushing in all the clips and everything, you'll have to wait for a few more videos until I get the car painted and everything's ready to be reinstalled. That is how you install Euro bumpers. Big thank you to Classic Euro Parts. Perfect fitment. That's what we like. So, super stoked. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to be installing the Garagistic M-Tech 1 kit. That will be out next week. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down in the comment section below. I'll put a link to the Euro bumpers as well in the description. So go ahead, check those out from Classic Euro Parts. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's right here. If you guys need any E30, E36 M3s, E3M, E46 M3 parts, make sure you hit up my parts page at Rage It Parts. I have a ton right now. And that's going to be the end of today's video. So, yeah, flashlight's dying as well. So, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.